Hey guys, so I wanted to do this quick video just to review some of the robots I've built over the years. It's been a while since I've touched a couple of these, and I'd like to start working on them and getting them in working order and maybe improving them and stuff like that. So there's 3 robots here. Each of them is from a robot kit. And this guy right here I recently just built. So I'm going to try to keep this camera properly and focused for this video. But yeah, let's just go through these real quick, and I'll talk about some of the issues I had and my thoughts about them. So this first robot here was so this is a robot dog from Freenove. This is a robot tank from Adept, and this is a robot car from Freenove. Now, Adept came with Adept branded batteries, and that was kind of an advantage. I had to buy batteries separately for the 2 Freenove robots. Now, I ended up buying counterfeit batteries, which you see back here, Ultrafire. And yeah, it turns out this is a common thing. Never buy these off of Amazon or eBay. So check the link in the description for a reputable vendor, but never buy these on AliExpress, Alibaba, eBay, Amazon, or anything like that. There's a lot of counterfeits out there, so be aware of that. But yeah, 2 of the biggest problems that I ran into were, the biggest probably is just batteries running out. So batteries would run out pretty quickly, and I'd either lose connectivity to the Raspberry Pi, so I can't remotely control it, or it would just stop moving and just run out of power in general. And the other problem I think might be just spotty Wi-Fi, so I could lose my connection to it while it's moving around. And if not for just batteries running out of power, the other thing I can think of is spotty Wi-Fi. Some of these, the instructions say you have to basically, VNC. You can't just SSH into it. You have to VNC into it and start up a server that's has a graphical interface, which is pretty messed up. I'd like to get rid of that graphical interface so you can control it over SSH. Set it to auto start so it just starts up when you power the thing on, and you don't have to connect. Or at least you can connect with a simpler connection over Wi-Fi. I'd like more information about if I do lose the connection, stuff like that built into the interface. So I kind of like to work some improvements into that. But yeah, keep knowing when you've lost your connection, or it's just frozen, or it's just not being responsive. Like a lot of times, I don't know if it's stopped responding temporarily and then it starts responding again, or if I've completely lost the connection, or if like the Raspberry Pi itself is shut down, or what's going on. So a lot of issues like that with these. And yeah, so let's look at this first one here. So this is the robot dog from Freenove. Now, I haven't touched this so this and the tank I haven't touched in a while, and they have dust on them, and they've been in my closet for forever. This guy just built it. So the robot dog has a lot of moving parts. So besides like connectivity and batteries that run out too fast, and just wonky interfaces, wonky server software, and really flaky clients that connect to it. Besides all of that, this thing has a lot of moving parts to keep the joints moving. So you see here, even just this one leg has 2 motors. There's a motor here, and here's a huge mess of wires. I'll have to get this all cleaned up and some of these plugged back in when I start getting this thing working again. But just 2 motors per leg. So each leg has 2 separate motors because it has like a knee joint on it. And so that's 8 motors total just for the legs. And then you have a motor for the head. So there's a lot of stuff going on there. It has this stupid light thing here, which is actually, it looks nice, but it's just another extra thing to deal with. And what else? Actually, you know what? I take that back. Not 2 motors per leg, it's 3 motors per leg. There's a motor here, and another motor here. So one motor turns it this way, another turns it this way, and another one turns this. So yeah, 3 per leg. Yeah, so that's like what, 12 motors for the legs, and then 13th motor for the head, and then you start adding extra things like the lights and stuff. But in any case, this is a lot of moving parts. This took me a lot longer, and this is like a more elaborate setup than either of these others. So this is the most complicated, elaborate setup. This thing was a little bit easier, a tighter fit and everything. And this one over here, the car, was by far the simplest and easiest one to set up. I mean, it's just a simple board, and you connect a few things to it, and you're done. When I was done, I was like, no way, it can't be that easy. There's got to be some more parts here somewhere. But it was pretty quick. So in any case, yeah, this guy has a lot of moving parts, and one of the things that's a pain about this is you have to calibrate it frequently. You have to calibrate it first before it can start walking, before it can start walking properly. It does look pretty cool when it does walk, but okay, so you got to calibrate it. And then these motors are a little bit weak to make it can still walk pretty well, but they're a little bit weak. I feel like if it had stronger motors, it would be able to walk more swiftly and it would be a little bit better with stronger motors. But I need to test that out a bit more before I can really make a judgment on that. But yeah, I need more batteries before I can, because basically by the time I get the thing calibrated and start actually testing it out and using it, it's not long before the batteries just die on me, and I lose connectivity to the Raspberry Pi itself. So that was a huge pain. So once I get some better batteries and a better power solution, hopefully that solves my problem and I'm able to test this out a bit more. Hopefully I can make some improvements of my own to the software that was distributed with this kit. So each of these is from a kit. So I'd actually like to build some of my own robots from scratch. So I'll hopefully have that coming up and do a video on that soon. But yeah, I'd like to make some improvements to the software for basically all three of these. I'd like some better software, maybe some kind of custom remote control thing, and I'd actually like to make them autonomous. So a lot of the things I want them to do are not going to be remote control. I want them to like wander around by themselves and just do things automatically without having to have you connect to them and make them do things. So that's another thing I'd like to do with them. But yeah, before I can, yeah, definitely better batteries will solve a lot of problems with this thing. So let's take a look at the parts really quick. It has a Raspberry Pi 4 here on top, and it has a robot board here on kind of in the middle. It's not basically on the bottom. A couple spots where you can throw battery in here, wires all over the place, ton of motors and legs and stuff, and not that much else to it. But there's a lot of little pieces, like little screws go, and it was really hard to like hold these screws in place and get them exactly in right. It was a bit of a pain. And see how you have like 4 different screws here just to hold this stupid little plastic plate on that then connects to this motor, and then you put another screw in through that hole there. So and then you have like little screws all over the place on this thing. Each joint here has like basically 5 screws on each side, and then the motors have screws and bolts, and it's hard to like align them up. They're so small you can like barely hold them. You need tweezers sometimes. It was a huge pain putting this thing together, but I felt like it was worth it. It was kind of an accomplishment, and it will be even more worth it once I get this thing fixed up and actually put it to some use and do some real tests with it. But any case, so that's the robot dog from Freenove. Now Adept interestingly comes up with this. Basically it's actually a little bit more translucent, I guess. So the sides on this, it's still the same material. It's a little bit more translucent, not as many moving parts, which is nice. It has tracks, which is pretty cool. These were terrific. So it's great that it has tracks, fewer moving parts. It still has a robot board inside there and a Raspberry Pi in there. So it has a Raspberry Pi 4. One thing I can say about this is this thing is really tight. It's a tight space. It does kind of enclose the thing, which is nice. I like how it's enclosed, but it's really small and tight. So it was actually kind of tricky to get everything squeezed in there. It has a robot board in there. I think it fits on top of the Pi. It's hard to see it from this angle, but I think it's all like vertical in there. At least the Pi is vertical. I think that's the board you can see connected to the Pi. Actually, you can't even see that on camera, but the board is connected to that in there. So it basically has tracks, which are pretty simple, and it has a moving arm that contains a few different motors. So what do we have here? We have one down here, one here, and one here, and one here. So this motor controls these. These can grab things. This one will rotate the arm. This one will bend this joint, and this one will bend this joint. And this actually functions pretty nicely. So this claw actually functions. This robot arm claw thing functions pretty nicely, and the tracks are really, really cool. So, and this arm was a whole lot easier to assemble than the legs on this Freenove robot dog. So this thing was easier to put together, but still some moving parts and a bunch of things, and it was a tight fit. And yeah, I do need to still clean up some of these cables. But the other thing to point out, all right, so this has a camera on it, and the ultrasonic sensor again. Ultrasonic sensor and the camera, so similar to the robot dog. It has fewer lights. I'm not seeing any lights. I forget if I had to put any. I don't know that it actually has any, unless they're hidden in there somewhere, and I forgot that I installed. Actually, all right, there we go. It does have lights if there's this board on the other side in here. Actually, each side has a board. You can see through this translucent side of this case. You might not be able to see it on the camera, but if you look carefully, you can see lights behind this. It's been a while since I powered this thing up, so I forget that I even added those in there. But yeah, there's lights that will light up behind this, so that's pretty cool. And yeah, batteries go in here. Still a pain to remove, but yeah, they go inside the tracks here. So batteries there, batteries there. Yeah. So, anyways, another robot, easier to put together than the robot dog. It worked a little bit better. Part of it because it has tracks, and it doesn't have these really you don't have to calibrate these stupid legs. With the tank, there's no real calibration necessary for it to work, so it's a little bit straightforward, fewer things that can go wrong, and it was a little bit easier to put together. I believe, does this thing move? I think this head part kind of actually moves on here. So there's another motor in there. So I built both of these a while back, and I built this robot car really recently. Now the head just came off on this. I need to add another screw in here. This is missing a screw. Everything else is fine. Missing a screw here, so this just comes off really easily. It actually functions really nicely with or without the, even without it being, as long as you have it facing down there and you don't turn this upside down, this head even with it just stuck in there like that, it still stays in, and this thing actually moves back and forth and up and down pretty swiftly. So it still works like that, but yeah, I do still need to get that screw in there. I have to fix, it has forward and reverse. It has the directions swapped around, so I have to go fix that in one of the config files. But yeah, this one was by far the easiest to put together, and it was, yeah, it's real simple. I did just put out a video on this. So this is basically just this one big stupid robot board, and I stuck a Raspberry Pi on top of here. You see some cables going to the head part that has two motors to go up and down, side to side, and it has your ultrasonic sensors that look like eyes. They're good for navigating around and stuff, and it has a camera right there, which in that little hole that looks like a mouth, and it has these IR sensors here. They're for following lines or for following lights, so it can trace a path and follow it around a room. So you draw a line on the floor and it's going to follow it. So this one underneath, it has, and here I am turning upside down again, it has motors. So I went over this in the video I just did about this robot specifically, but basically these motors are actually pretty small. It's this metal part here that's stuck into this yellow box. And this yellow box is actually a gearbox that connects to the wheel. Each of these wheels is independent. Each wheel has its own motor and gearbox, and two slots for batteries to go in here. It's a huge pain digging the batteries out of these slots and putting them back in, and when your batteries die really quickly, that's a huge pain too. You cannot charge the batteries if you can plug this in, but and power the Pi, but that will not power the batteries. You have to pull the batteries out and charge them in a charger, which is a huge pain, especially when the batteries run out so quickly. So get some good batteries, and I'm gonna have to come up with a solution for that. Maybe I'll rip this out and put a different a different thing to hold the batteries or something. I'll come up with some kind of solution for this. But in any case, so it has that, it has the wheels, and other than that, that's about it. There's nowhere near as many moving parts. The head was the most complicated thing. If you were to get rid of that head, then this would be like a ridiculously simple robot. But this was really easy and simple to put together. Still took a little bit of time, but way more simple than either of these other two. Now, I forget if the Adept robot tank was able to be charged by just being plugged in, but I don't think it did. I forget what the case was with that. But any case, definitely this guy, you can't charge it by plugging it in. You have to remove the batteries. You can power the Pi with a cable, but not the robot board. So yeah, that's about it. I'm gonna probably do bunch of more videos with this guy, test it out more, so stay tuned for those, and then I will hopefully do some videos with these other two, and get them working, and then be able to test some more stuff out with them. So yeah, hopefully we'll be doing a lot of really neat stuff with those really soon, and hopefully I actually kind of want to do some more robot kits. I want to do like a higher end tank build, maybe like something made out of with like metal siding and like more powerful motors, and so that it can move around a whole lot faster and a whole lot longer. And I'd like to get a way higher capacity battery so I can just have it roam around for a long period of time. So a lot of neat things I'd like to do. I'd also like to build some robots from scratch, simple and complicated robots. So I'm going to be trying to come up with some ideas for what I want to build from scratch. And I'm kind of thinking I'd like to build some custom 3D printed parts. So I have a couple 3D printers, and I want to be printing robot parts and assembling robots and stuff. So a lot of neat things that kind of all fit together, and a lot of ideas I'm kind of playing around with. But that's kind of what I'm planning on working on coming up soon. So yeah, stay tuned for all that. Give me a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out. Also hit the bell icon, otherwise YouTube won't let you know when we're coming out with new videos. It won't notify you unless you do hit that bell icon, but definitely hit the subscribe button. If you have your own experience, you have any questions, comments, criticisms, whatever you want to say, leave a comment down below, not just for me, but for the next person watching this video. And that's about it for today. So yeah, check the links in the description for where to pick up these robots, and for more information, and for where to pick up reputable batteries. And yeah, so that's about it for today. Hopefully this helps someone, or someone finds this interesting. Thanks for watching, and we will see you guys on that next video.